Hello and welcome to my channel, Matty G111. This is the first ever episode, which I might call something gay, like conversation with a friend. And today I've got Jack Smith, and we're going to be discussing the Youth Parliament and why he's done it for a second time. Do you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself, man?
Yeah, I'm Jack. I'm the first guest. I guess is one of Matt's friends.
Yeah, friends, quote unquote friends.
No quotes there, man.
So I decided to bring Jack in because he decided to Youth Parliament again. I did Youth Parliament last year. I think we should begin by explaining what Youth Parliament is. You want to go for it, man?
Yeah, I'll go for it. So Youth Parliament is basically just a civic engagement program trying to, I guess, allow youth, people under 25 to, I guess, understand the concepts of politics and how legislation works, and how they can make a change. So that's something we were really lucky enough to do, and I've come back. Yeah,
well, that's the exact same reason why. What I did last year as well. So with each team that gets represented in Victoria, we all get a bill to create. What's the bill for this year?
Our bill this year is a mental health traineeship bill. So we're trying to make sure we can get training psychologists out into the regions. Out to your rural and regional areas, because there's a big the ratios of people who need help to psychologists are incredibly limited here compared to your areas like Melbourne. It's really kind of distressing when you look at it and say that there's a lot of people who are around here who need help as much as the next person in Melbourne or Sydney, but don't have access just through either financial need or the fact that there's no one here.
Yeah, which is the usual story in rural and remote areas anyway. What else could we talk about? Do you want to talk about how your experiences with Youth Parliament, and I'll tell you my perception.
We had quite different experiences, I think, Matt and I.
How about, do you want to begin with, maybe we'll begin with our first experience? And then we'll go to yours afterwards and see if we can get a comparison, or you want to go your...
You go first.
So when we participated last year, me and Jack and Bryce, Hannah, Georgia, and this other fella called Alex, also known as Dad, we met up and decided to give a go at making a bill. And we came up with the out-of-home care bill, which is basically to bring the age of out-of-home care up to 21 instead of 18, and the statistics showed homelessness below that age, so statistical significance of doing so, and we brought it into legislation so far. It's being trialled right now in Melbourne for a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it's they've put a couple million towards trialling it right now.
Yeah.
And it's looking really promising so far.
Yeah, so let's hope it works out. But the experience of Youth Parliament is quite a unique one, if you're not ready for it. Just imagine going to a place where everyone smiles very happy all the time, and it just doesn't feel real. You get forced to dance and clap, and you feel like an absolute child. But besides that, you get to actually go to the Victorian Parliament House, where you actually have a legitimate reason to be there. It's a trade-off. It's a cost-benefit analysis. And I just can't explain the suffering we had to go through just to enjoy the Parliament.
It was very interesting because I think all of us started in the same boat.
Yeah.
We all did not like it. So with Youth Parliament, you have a training weekend, which was for the weekend, and then we have the week of Parliament, which I'm going to as of today in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And the training weekend, let's say, we didn't vibe with too much.
No, we did not. There was a lot of Smash Mouth playing in the car, and other Shrek songs, I believe, too.
Yes, they were on the way there. The people who picked us up, because most people got a bus to the camp, but we, being so rural, a bit special.
We were the only team that was the furthest away, so everything else was so it was quite hard to get there on time.
They were playing so the people who came picked us up had the Shrek 2 album playing in the car.
Yeah, which look, I love Shrek, but I hate it when people sing it, especially when the meme's dead. So
we rocked up, and there were a bunch of people in a conga line
in togas.
So I think we all knew it was going to be a pretty interesting experience in many aspects.
Yeah, it was quite a slap in the face when we saw it. It just took a bit of adapting too, so we found our ways to enjoy it in silence and little quotes to each other, and I think that's what made us actually bond more, was actually making fun of the camp that made our team a bit stronger as well. And I think people actually liked us for that. Like, people liked our team last year.
Yeah, no, I think we were really liked. Because we were different, I think, by a long way. We were, not me as much, but the three gentlemen in our team were a bit older than most.
We had one father, one... Like, just me and him, we're both, like, I'm not a dad, but like just old people. Just over 20s,
Yeah, exactly. It was really interesting. I did get into it as much as the others might hate to hear it.
Yeah. Oh no, we understand. You had your little chocolate moment there. We know that.
Yeah.
A little bit of Cadbury peas, son.
Yeah, no, I started enjoying myself as soon as because I was I think we were all feeling probably the same way until probably the Tuesday or the Wednesday, until probably the day we presented our bill.
Yeah.
And I was like the Parliament stuff's really fun, but I feel like there's no reason why I couldn't be enjoying the other stuff. As weird as I think it is, I got to the point where I'm like, no one's looking at me while we're doing all this.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going, what the hell are we doing? This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, we all understood why we had to do that, because like it was a whole point is to bring you out of your character, and so you can actually like speak at Parliament well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't need that. I didn't need to join a cult in order to be able to speak in front of people. So
yeah, it was really, really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I think another bit of it that probably also stuck with me a bit more than it stuck with you guys is meeting people and meeting friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I made friends there too, but probably not into the depth that you did, because like you're actually going back a second time, you could probably get in contact with them again.
Yeah. I still talk to a couple of them occasionally.
Yeah. Any returns this year as well in this Youth Parliament?
Yeah, there's only a few, not that many. I think there's 3 or 4 I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what's with the political scape? Like, you can tell there's a big difference in like political opinions from people from the city and people from our area. Like,
oh, absolutely. That's just the way we've grown up, though. It's the exposure to different problems.
Yeah,
like no one that lives in the city. Oh, this is a generalization. Most people who live in the city, who have always lived in the city, don't know what drought's like.
Yeah,
they don't know what like having to wait weeks for a doctor's like.
Yeah, they're used to things being instant. They haven't really, like when I saw them, it just seemed like they haven't really faced anything really difficult in their lives. So they just make things that are difficult out of nothing, that I perceive as nothing, but it probably is when you're exposed to such a thing.
The way I think of it is that everything is as important. It's just that the issues that so people who are more privileged deal with more kind of social privileged issues. Yeah. And
that's probably a better way of articulating it.
Yeah. And so we being from regional and rural areas are not up to the level that they are. So I feel we're trying to come up to the level that they're getting to. Yeah,
where we try to find problems within social
exactly, because everyone is going to look for problems and then look for solutions.
Yeah, that's just human nature, of course.
Exactly, and I think we're just, being from the regions and not having the access to a lot of other places, are a little bit behind that.
Yeah, and what do you think about the team this year, like your team that you're with?
I'm really pumped.
Yeah,
really good. Got some really good speakers. I was only a few days ago. We all met up and had some of the old team members there and went through our speeches.
Yeah, so that's actually pretty good. It was a good meetup. Like,
it was.
I can't remember any of their names. You want to tell us their names or?
Oh, so we got me, Jack, Brady Glenn, Georgia Lutner, Tory Bishop, and Josh May.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's 2019's team. They enjoy the training weekend? Or?
Yeah, I think they enjoyed the training weekend a bit more than you guys enjoyed the training weekend. It was a lot of I think especially because Georgia and I were there.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of guidance. Like they came into it feeling the same way you guys did, but we were just like, you got to accept it.
You got to embrace it.
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound cultish at all to me.
No, I don't know what you're on about.
My sarcasm is very terrible. Yeah, so I'm also, you're also a university student, so am I. You're studying occupational therapy.
Yeah.
What's it like being a uni student now and actually going to the Youth Parliament? Because last year you were just in Year 12,
It's different. It's different. It's a different feel. Especially, I'm so busy over the next couple of weeks, going straight from Youth Parliament to play uni games in Brisbane, so a lot of uni-related stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's just a year older, a year more experienced. Yeah. Especially having done it before.
Yeah, and just getting used to this new environment that you're in again.
Yeah, going in and trying to not, I guess, give too much weight to the new guys.
Yeah.
It didn't feel too weird going back. Like, a lot of the others were are kind of uncomfortable going. Not uncomfortable, but nervous as they should be.
Yeah.
But Georgia and I kind of went in and gone, yep, we're the second years. We got this. We're the vets.
Yeah, you're veterans. Yeah, representing.
Yeah, so we felt pretty good going. Like it was no real stress to us.
Yeah.
Which I think was comforting for them. I think they really enjoyed that
aspect of
just
it.
having the people who knew what was happening, and if we were talking about how the line of sight or the actual parliamentary processes, we could guide them through that, and there wasn't a lot of like grey area of what do we need to know, like stuff that they didn't know, because we could fill them in, because especially Georgia being the vice chamber leader last year and me being the chamber leader this year.
Yep.
Really got to experience or are experiencing those things in, I'd say, a deeper way.
Yeah. And how are you feeling about being chamber leader this year? What do you feel like?
Nervous, man. I'm nervous. Real nervous.
I can't even remember what sort of responsibilities you have now.
So I run all our chamber meetings.
Yep.
I sit in what would have been Matthew Guy's old chair. So I'm the opposition leader for our caucus or whatever you want to call it.
The face.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I'm pretty pumped about it. I didn't think I'd get it, but that's the beauty of preferential voting for you.
Yeah.
It was something I really wanted going in. Like, I wouldn't have been too cut if I didn't get it, but it was something that I thought really could have bolstered my leadership skills.
Yeah.
And I just think, especially really wanting to stand up for the team.
Yeah.
It was not just our team, but the group. The really interesting thing about being the leader is that when I was running the meetings, we have a team of deaf people in our chamber. We've got Deafwood in our chamber, who are one of the just most amazing groups.
Yeah.
You just can't refute anything they say because they're right.
Yeah.
Just that knowledge of so I probably should explain Deafwood to begin with. Deafwood are a group of so the way Youth Parliament works is you have teams of either people from school, we're through the council, and Deafwood are a group of deaf people from around Victoria, and what they try to do is bring awareness to deaf issues.
Yeah. Like we learned sign language. Did you have the sign language education this time as well?
Yeah. I still know a little bit. Good communication.
Yeah, good. Yeah, big booty. Yeah.
No, it was really good. And running that meeting was really interesting, especially with translators.
Yeah.
And that was really a slap in the face of being really aware.
Yeah.
Because I'd be walking around, I'd be standing in front of the translators and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting having to be that aware.
Yeah.
And it was actually really nice because of the way we had to run the meeting was... I
do apologise if you couldn't tell by the audio quality. We are using my mobile device, and we now return to what we were doing. What were we talking about again? Where were we at again?
Talking about chamber leader. And that role.
And that role, but okay. Keep going. Where did we last leave?
So I was talking about the meetings.
And meetings, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be really interesting actually sitting in. Really, I want to try... in the role I'm in is the representative of our chamber, and I really want to try and represent them well.
Yeah, and actually do a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to speak up on most of the bills. I feel like that should be a role.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most important things for the chamber leader to do is to be someone who is willing to stand up. And that's something I think that I'm really willing to do. Yeah,
and last year you really came out of your shell, and I feel like coming back next year, knowing what to expect, probably gave you that confidence to actually be able to do chamber leader as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I started off quite timid through the whole thing, I think, and then really just through that week was really, really good for my development. Yeah. Not just in all this political sphere, but as a person too. Feeling really confident about talking about issues and talking about my opinion, whether it's right or wrong. That's another story. But
it's a good thing. I agree with you totally, because last year, when I did it, I just started getting out of my old habits of being shit scared of everything, not talking. Yeah. And then once I got up there and started talking, you start building that confidence up, and you feel that what you think should be heard, and that it's. No matter what your opinion is, it can change over time. It's
powerful.
And being able to actually discuss that with people is very good. And that's what also brought me to giving this idea of having a go at doing a conversation podcast sort of format, because I love having conversations and discussing ideas, and I don't want to be scared of that anymore. And being able to do this is pretty good. So
absolutely.
So that's the best part about Youth Parliament, is that it does actually bring out a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I think it's like you look at it into the way I look at Youth Parliament is in two really separate spheres. Yeah, it's the parliamentary stuff, which helps other people. Yeah, and it's the the personal stuff, the interpersonal stuff, when you're doing recreational activities that really helps you and everyone else.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things about Youth Parliament that's really interesting, is that there's a really good mix in the middle of that like Venn diagram of this center point of really being able to develop yourself.
Yeah.
And what we did is one of the most incredible things that most of us that will do for quite a while. It's 47,000 people in out-of-home care in Australia, in Victoria, and we've through a few months of work have significantly added to their level of ability to enjoy life.
And that's something to value. For sure.
Exactly, and that's something like, how many people get to do that? You get to do that if you're a politician, if you're a real politician who are getting paid the big bucks. Or if you get lucky like we did and get into a program where you have access to all these amazing people, and then if your bill passes the Youth Parliament, is handed to the relevant minister.
So how do you feel about your bill this year with this team? Do you feel like it might be a success again, or?
I think it'll be a success in Youth Parliament. I feel really passionately about our ability to get it through the Youth Parliament. Through actual legislation, I'm a bit nervous. I don't see it. I just think
cost benefit analysis.
Yeah, that's one of the big things this year. I think it's got some real merit, but I think, especially being Youth Parliament and they're being quite cautious about not trying to talk about financials, made it very difficult to do this as properly as I would have liked, and we were under a bit of a time crunch. But you got to look at it in the way of, through Youth Parliament, we've been really lucky. Because they've been doing this for years and years. I met a middle-aged woman, a few months ago who had done Youth Parliament when she was young. Yeah.
And what was her experience? Did she say like it was good?
She enjoyed it.
She enjoyed it.
She didn't have your culty experience.
Yeah, no, I'm scarred for life now. But still, I enjoyed it.
So youth through the program, I think it's 25 bills have been added into legislation. Some really important stuff like mandatory seatbelts, helmets. I just come with a couple of the interesting things, and then we've probably seems like going to be added to that list.
So this program has had an effect. Just give me a second. Hold on. Password. Pause. Pause. Oh my god. What the fuck?
Matty boy, you okay, mate?
I don't know, man. Hold on. And we're back after some technical difficulties. My mother decided to come home from work, and there's a couple bags and rustling. So where were we again with the discussion? Where were we? Shit, I'm very bad. I have a terrible memory. Yeah, about your bill and how you feel about it, and where you stand on how it's going to pass. I think that's where we were.
Yeah, I think there's. I think we have some really, really good points in our bill. So I guess I'll just explain what our bill's about a little bit more in depth. It's about supporting trainee psychologists financially to come out into regional and rural areas. And the basis of that is that I don't feel we have access in our communities to those services enough. And a big issue that we found was retention. So about actually keeping these psychologists in the areas. So we think by kind of giving them this kind of ride, that we can show them what these communities are really about. And I think, just to try and get some retention, because this isn't just a benefit for the for the community. It's a benefit for the psychologists who may not be able to afford to go away and do something like this.
So basically, this is just to bring, of course, like with anything, just to bring in the professionals that are needed for anyone with a mental health issue.
Exactly.
The access, of course, like with anything, like with if you have cancer, you need some sort of treatment, don't you?
Exactly. And even with cancer, we'd have less access here.
Exactly. That's the point I was trying to bring across. But I'm trying to figure out the words I'm trying to say here, but like, I want to know how successful it will be to actually bring professionals here, and will the people with those issues actually go speak to them? Because a lot of people with mental health issues do not want to talk about it at all.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I think that was a really interesting point that came up at the meeting we were talking about. The way I think about it is the services we have here are already clogged. So that shows that before we could, I think we deal with that issue, which is very important. We deal with the fact that there are people who are looking that can't go to places. Headspace, the waiting list can be up to, a month long, even for intakes, which is getting people, like, seeing what these people's mental states are.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't going to have that long.
Yeah.
We've had a really crushing time, I think, in our community over the last few months.
The youth suicide rate here is pretty high.
We've had 3 in a month and a half.
I don't have stats on it, but I know, like, every time in the news, like, it's some young fella's just decided to end his life at the wrong time. And
we had one, I think, 3 days ago.
Yeah.
It was someone I knew.
Yeah.
That's really, like...
It's the story with it. Like, everyone our age, we know them. Like, just being like just so close. It's just the weirdest experience is actually having somebody you know who's just killed themselves.
Yeah, and thinking, like, what they must have been going through to think that was their only option.
Yeah, like, that's an intense thought. To want to know that, like, I want out now.
Yeah.
And, like... That is the most intense thought I could think of. Is like,
it's extreme.
It's very extreme, and the action is very extreme, and even
there are so many people who feel that way.
Yeah,
and whether it's people being sensitive, which seems to be a bit more of an old person argument.
Yeah,
or it's that the issues are different these days. We see with the Victorian government talking about banning phones into schools.
Yeah,
whether like what these issues are, and that usually you find. If you can get people into treatment to see people, you can prevent a lot of these deaths. It's one of, I'd say, the most preventable illnesses we have, and there's so many issues with it. No one thing is going to solve it. Unfortunately, it's just impossible. Yeah, because you talk about the suicide rates, but then you talk about other types of mental illness that require different treatment. Yeah, and you talk about the stigma with mental illness. Yeah, there's still in quite a bit in our region too. Our area has quite a stigma towards mental health issues. Yeah. Like, we don't accept it as well. Still, even though with all the social media and the internet being around, it's actually still kind of similar to how it was about 10 years ago. Yeah. The way I heard it explained to me the best was if someone had cancer and passed away of cancer, we would say they had a really good fight. They tried. Yeah. And that's the thing about suicide, and saying even committed suicide. Saying committing suicide makes it sound like it's a crime. Yeah. I think, isn't it actually illegal? I don't know where I heard this. I heard it's actually like if you attempt suicide, you get a fine or something like that. Don't think so. I don't know where I heard that. Unless it's like in other places, it is. I know in Japan that it is. Yeah. Like if you kill yourself in the country of Japan, depending on like how close it is to the country, depends how much they charge the family and stuff. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah. But I know that's why there's a lot of Japanese people who kill themselves overseas. Like, they buy plane tickets to go to like Ireland, as far away as from Japan. Most of the countries you find with the worst mental health issues, going back to what we were talking about earlier about regional and metro areas about problems, is that when you get into these more like westernized countries, or even just populated countries that are quite developed, even China and places like that, like metropolitan China and Japan, is that the issues change. So I can't remember what it's called, but there's kind of a pyramid of needs. Yeah. And when you're lower on that period... It's Maslow or whatever the hell. Yeah, I can't remember his name now. I couldn't tell you what it is. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name. It's like, and the bottom one is like food and shelter. Yeah. And you're not going to be worried about what people are saying on you online if you're like trying to feed your family. Yeah. So it's an issue that I feel a lot of us in these developed countries are up here. Yeah. And that's where a lot of these more social issues come into play. Yeah. Which I think has something to do with suicide rates being, I think, a lot worse in countries that are developed or a lot more pronounced. Yeah. We see a lot more of it. Yeah. And it's the weird thing of the stigma starting to go away. Yeah. But really, it's still there. Like, even I feel I'm very aware of what the stigma is and that I don't feel it. But I still think instinctually I do feel the stigma. Yeah. I have to think really consciously about it when I hear stuff like that, about like all these beliefs that I have aren't true. Yeah. Yeah. And it's really sad. Yeah. Because especially with your regional areas talking about suicide, is I think Josh in his speech makes an interesting point about everybody knows everybody, and that what if you know the psychologist? Yeah. And that becomes a professional issue as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's issues on both sides with that are really severe. Like, there's no... Like,
when it comes to solutions to things, solving one problem creates the other.
Exactly.
Exactly we're bringing up with the psychologist. It's like that with anything. Like, let's say, like, you solve... you start giving water to the people, the water starts depleting. Like, and then that water gets taken away from something else. Let's say, like, it takes taken away from another creature that might need that water.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, isn't it, like, that's kind of comes into an economic principle, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's the thing about...
I'm not trying to, I don't know if I'm relating it to that. I'm speaking off the cuff like a retard, but just...
There's a lot of economic issues that are involved with a lot of these issues too that are a reason a lot of them don't get solved.
Yeah.
You're like, what's the value of a life?
Yeah, like that. And like, one of our, we're not going to name him, but name them. Like they brought up the point of actually like, what, like, when it comes down to it is money in the world. And like, to what point do we, if they're in the mindset of a politician, is it right to what sort of benefit does it to let somebody live? Like,
you need to have, it's really sad.
It's dark. That's a very dark thought.
It's really sad, but you need to have a lot of economic understanding of the benefits of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially, I feel not as much in Victoria as a lot of other places with our state government, who I think are really good. But, when we did our out-of-home care bill, I don't think that would have ever got changed if we didn't bring up Alex's argument about the cost benefit of giving these people more money.
Yeah.
And about, I can't remember, it was like for every $1 you get $1.70 back or something.
Yeah.
That might be untrue, but it's a benefit. And I think that's what really got across to Peter Crisp. Yeah.
The sad thing is money talks. And to get the world moving, like, you need that dollar being speaking loud.
And then with mental health, that money, it's really hard to quantify, I think, money that doesn't happen because of an issue. So stuff like loss of productivity. Yeah. That's really hard to quantify.
Yeah.
Because you don't... How do you calculate that?
Yeah.
I mean, people have, and they're probably a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, it's a prediction.
Yeah.
And it's not like, this happened, so this much money got lost. I feel like we look in Australia and a lot of other countries not at... I feel like we look at gain a lot more than we look at loss.
Yeah.
So we look at, we could put this much money in and this would be our return, compared to we could put this in and we wouldn't lose this much, or we would lose this much.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much is a life? That's like the real base question is, how much is a life worth?
Yeah.
And is one life worth more than another?
Yeah.
And is 100 lives worth more than X amount of lives? It's really...
Yeah, isn't that that's a psychological, psychopath quiz,
it's would you philosophical.
To save would you save, what is it, the train's coming and you have to save, kill one person to save 100 lives.
Yeah.
You have to find that value. That's probably to the level of how difficult it is, you reckon, or no?
I think that's an interesting point. I think that's just a massive philosophical argument.
That's for any action there comes a thought, and thought is philosophy, isn't it? And just in the concept of what we can do, and existence itself, and what point do we draw the line, and what, and and where do we agree upon things? And that's just been our existence for thousands of years. I've just gone a bit of a rant.
Rants are good.
Yeah, but that makes sense what I'm going at, doesn't it? I don't know why I'm having a hard time talking about it.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's
It's just, you go, as you're saying.
I don't know how much a life is worth. And then there's the, how you quantify life's worth into one thing. Because your life means more to me than it does to Joe Blow on the street.
Yeah. Because you know me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what part of that makes me feel that you're worth more than that person?
I feel if you really want to get down to the bottom line of it all, it actually probably comes down to how we developed as creatures. Because we are social animals, and we used to live in tribes, of course, and we still do today, but on a massive scale. We have billions of us on the planet now. So we used to live on tribes, and we would get to know each other in the tribe, and being familiar with each other made us do anything for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if anybody came over the mountain, and where resources are scarce on our side, and we think they're going to take it, we make that enemy. And over time, that just became into more of a social area, more than a combative area. So I've just lost my train of thought, but basically, in essence, is that it becomes down to tribalism.
Yeah.
And the fact that we as humans have to get to know the person to become a part of our village, in a sense. Yeah.
The way I just think it's interesting is, like, let's go back to Joe Blow on the street.
Yeah.
Is that you are the same in both respects.
Yeah, until you get to know
But
me.
you are... The difference with you compared to my relationship with you, to his relationship with you, is how we perceive you.
Yeah.
And then, like, can you say one life is more valuable than another?
Yeah.
But how do you quantify that? Is that talking about how much money they make? Are they a CEO of some big company?
Yeah.
Or do they live on the street?
Yeah. And do we value that life of how much they earn?
Yeah.
And that's where it comes back into the whole
I feel like,
political thing.
we do. That's just, like, classic capitalism of
Yeah.
valuing money. And
Yeah.
that money is more important than a lot of other things we see, that with the environment right now.
Yeah. Classic Karl Marx at it again.
Like, you talk about, like, it's no good having money when you can't breathe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is obviously an incredibly extreme example.
Yeah, but isn't that like an old Indian saying, like, you can cut down all the trees, but... I mean,
that's what I get it off. Yeah, I
That
can't
one.
remember exactly what it is.
Yeah,
we
but-
had it hanging up in our room
Yeah.
in one of my Year 12 classes.
Yeah, like, you can't eat money. So,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But there's like, with everything, like discussing earlier, there's things that occur to other things, such as when you're saying, like, the effect of having a professional as a psychologist, that they might know them.
Yeah.
It's the same sense when it comes to actually consuming and living with money. Because money is really great. It stops me from having to build a table. I can just go down to Bunnings Warehouse or IKEA
Exactly.
and buy a table, which is lovely. But then again, I'm also giving somebody a job, and then over time, the capitalism, the result of the demand for the product gets so great that we start losing the resources that are actually on our planet.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just a wave effect to everything.
Yeah. Like, do we use sustainable products? Is that where we should be moving to? Should we
Yeah.
use sustainable energy?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like,
Yeah.
that, just like the absolute cost benefit to economics versus the world.
Yeah.
And then there's the, like, money's really... I find the concept of money really interesting.
Yeah, it's a very
As
fascinating one.
Money only has value because we give it value. It's nothing. It's not real.
It is not. Yeah.
It's real because we all think it's real. And if everyone went tomorrow, money isn't real, it would lose all value and would stop being a thing.
Yeah, it's only because of an agreed social contract, in a sense.
Yeah. Well, how I believe it originally went...
It's gold.
Is that, the money represented gold. But
Yeah.
then we kind of transcended that meaning into being its own thing.
Yeah. Because, like, everything was due, like, the wealth of an item was due to its scarcity. Because, like, gold will run out on this planet. We don't have an infinite amount of gold, so that's why it's valuable.
And then there's, like, talking about capitalism, I think one of the big, interesting capitalistic discussion points is diamonds.
Yeah.
Is that diamonds aren't inherently valuable at all.
No.
There's massive, like, storerooms in other countries, not in Australia.
Yeah.
Basically, what they do is keep the demand high.
Yeah.
There's stacks of diamonds around.
Yeah.
But they decide how much it costs.
Yeah.
And that's where you're talking to unions and, like, the oil union between countries. They decide on the price too.
Yeah. That's just insane when you think about it,
Yeah.
isn't it? And that's the world we live in right now.
Yeah, exactly.
What else? What else?
And you can't, like, you cannot accept it individually.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make a difference.
No. Doesn't do shit.
Doesn't do anything.
No, it does nothing.
You need a massive movement. And I am not a communist by any means.
Yeah.
But that's what that movement's about.
Yeah.
But then the thing about capitalism that you can't get in communism is with people, at least I believe, that there's an inherent drive to improve.
Yeah.
And in a communistic system,
Yeah.
when everyone is getting the same,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah. Because
You have nothing to do.
Yeah. Because down to to the bottom line again, like, we're hierarchical creatures still. It's really, like, because a lot of people I talk with, like, they still don't seem to understand that we are animals, and we still have, like, this very subconscious nature where, like, we still desire to have some sort of ranking among our peers, and, like, we always desire to go to the next one. Once you reach the first one, you're the next one, then the next one.
If you've ever made a goal, say playing an instrument's a nice example.
Yeah.
So you go, I want to learn this song.
Yeah.
And then you learn that song. And then you go, I want to learn this song.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And that's what we see, I think, a lot. I'd say less now with some of the philanthropists like Bill Gates.
Yeah.
But a lot of those real top, not even 1%. Because something a lot of people don't understand is in the global context of everything, you and I are in the 1%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of Australia, nearly all of Australia, is in the 1%.
Yeah.
We need to start talking about the 0.0001%.
Yeah.
Who own so much more than we ever will.
Yeah, and should we stop them from owning and trying to get to that?
And why are they trying to improve? What do they have? What in them says, I still want it, I still want more?
Because I sincerely believe that is just because our baseline nature. Because like we're always trying to make sure we have enough food for winter and make sure we can survive the next cold.
Yeah,
we make sure we can survive the next day. And having those resources back us up so greatly, and that's what makes us powerful.
Yeah, you always want a little bit more. And that's why I believe... I actually had an argument about something with communism not too long ago. It was very scary.
Yeah.
Because I'd never had anyone actually argue communism at me.
Yeah.
But yes, inherently, communism is great as a base concept.
Yeah.
But this is perfect world stuff. And we live so far away from a perfect world. And capitalism in a perfect world is kind of okay.
Yeah.
But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world... I think we're in a really interesting kind of late stage capitalism right now.
Yeah.
Where you have everything owned by like 7 companies.
Yeah.
And what happens if that gets to one company and then this oligarchy of them determining prices happens?
The tyranny begins.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what happens after that point?
What if the empire falls and then we just have to start again? Then the cycle repeats itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. These are very interesting thoughts. Like, just trying to understand how our systems work and where it's going to end up next is always a very interesting topic to discuss.
Yeah. I think the future is going to be really obviously the future is going to be interesting, but I think where do we go, and do we leave here? Do we head off? Does Elon Musk finally get his rockets right?
Sorry for the very brief interruption. You were talking about Elon Musk going to space. Is that the next step? Are we going to Mars? Are we going to be space people soon?
Are we going to Mars? I don't know, but I think it's really interesting talking about what's going to happen, and I think the next stage we need to take is decide what we value the Earth at. Now, is that do we want to leave or do we need to leave?
Yeah. It depends. Like, hold on again. We're talking. Sorry about that. We're back again. We just had a big bunch of noise, firewood and stuff you don't need to know. So where were we talking about? What's the next step for our civilization? Going to Mars. Elon Musk, Tesla, the Tesseract. Thor visits down. Loki comes. So,
where's Thor when you need him?
Yeah, Asgard, my dude. The next step, where do we draw the line? How much do we value the Earth if one day we can leave it? That'd be actually interesting. Like, should we value a planet if we know we can just leave it?
Yeah, exactly. And if we have let's say we have the technology, which we're not at yet, but basically this is a really interesting concept. What Mars needs to become a planet is an ozone layer.
Yeah.
And if you pump CO2 onto Mars, you can basically create an atmosphere.
When they're talking about terraforming, where like they drop basically just a seed bomb and just wait over a couple hundred years or something like that.
You need to wait in tens of thousands of years.
If
we can maintain Earth, we've got 4 billion years or 6 billion years. We've got ages.
Oh man, like for me, I think that's the next goal of space exploration.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing. But now I'm just going on a tangent here. Rocket ships would only be able to go from like planets here within our galaxy, because like unless we can somehow travel faster than the speed of light, faster than that, because like it takes like 5 years to get to the center of our galaxy, the center of our galaxy, not our solar system. So we're jumping from planet to planet in our solar system. To get to the center of our galaxy itself, going at the speed of light takes a very long time.
Yeah,
like just in relation to the universe itself, travel is insanely difficult to probably come to.
Yeah, and especially when you can't theoretically, I think this is one of the theoretical laws that's pretty set, is beating, speed of light.
Yeah.
Which you can't do.
Yeah.
Because to beat the speed of light, you need to not have mass.
Yeah. And how do you go about doing that?
Literally everything. everything that we can interact with has mass.
Yeah.
You know, elements oxygen has a mass.
Yeah.
CO2 hydrogen has a mass.
Yeah.
It's like if you can get to 99.99% of the speed of light, you'd be pretty close enough. But still, can we do that? And I think probably not.
We wouldn't be able. I don't think us in this form would be able to survive that.
And then there's like your interesting concepts about like, do we? Let's say we set up a rocket ship, going at the speed we do now, which is very quick, nowhere near quick enough to get to the next planet within multiple generations. Do we set up a colony on a spaceship?
So a space Titanic.
So these generations teach each other about the functionings of the ship and what they're looking for and what the end goal is. And then 100 generations later, you end up at a new planet.
Or we become robots and then everything gets cooler.
That's true.
Yeah, I become Megatron, I get a good sword. So like maybe like we have to ascend beyond our form right now.
Yeah.
Because you're speaking in terms of how we are now.
Yeah.
Because like imagine in like a couple thousand years what we could be.
But then there's the question of like, are humans going to evolve again? Because evolution happens via necessity.
Yeah, and selection.
Yeah, and if we're in this is a bit of a hot topic where like a 300 kilo man can have a child.
Yeah.
Or someone who has a really debilitating disease can have a child.
Yeah.
You're continuing genes that would back, thousands and thousands of years ago would die off.
Yeah.
So how much improvement are you actually seeing in the human race compared to what you saw?
Hey guys, I do apologise for cutting out all of a sudden. The audio file I had was corrupted, so I had to decode it, and this was the result. We did have an ending towards this, but this has been Made a G111 and a conversation with friends. I do hope you enjoyed the first episode. It got a bit off track, but that is all that I can say for that. I'm very sorry. If you did like this, please subscribe. There'll be more content coming soon, and I hope I don't have these same issues in the future. Thank you.